Namaskaram. Welcome to PGurus. I'm your host JK, and yet again we are back with our favorite guest, the author of Twisted Thread, Mr. Kans, with us today. And we're going to discuss something special. So this is the third episode of our Boycott Bollywood, and we have a special movie in place. And we have to give thanks. In fact, we want to just give credit to this Indic Spectrum. Maybe I'm not sure it's a person or a group. They have made an amazing video, kind of portraying what the actor and actress of the movie, along with the producer of the movie, have done. So maybe we can just play you that clip right now, and then we can just start our discussion.
And if you don't like me, don't watch me. Like, I can't help it. Like,
Paya beef, red meat, red meat. I'm a big beef guy. I'm a more mutton, paya beef, red meat, red meat. I'm a big beef guy.
करना चाहता हूँ मैं करना चाहता हूँ चाहे मैं अपने फूफे के बेटे को लॉन्च करूँ या मेरी चाची के भतीजे को लॉन्च करूँ आई कैन डू व्हाट द आई वांट
वो गलती कर दी कि हमने साइलेंस रखा था वो हमारी शराफत थी और उसका एक एडवांटेज है कि हमारी कमजोरी थी
आप जा रहे हो ना फिल्म देखने तो मत जाओ nobody has forced you
I like this one.
So there we go. In fact, whatever we had to say, that video would have succinctly put that in visuals, rather, whatever we want to say in words. That was very well placed in that video. So, Kans, so Boycott Brahmastra, just to give a heads up, I guess today the movie has opened, and one of the well-known or famous movie reviewer, Tarun Adarsh, has given only 2 stars, and he calls it a disappointment. Right, so Tarun Adarsh is a well-known in the film fraternity, and if Tarun is giving 2 stars for such a movie, in fact, if they've spent a lot of money on this, and still the movie seems to start with going nose down. What do you think?
Well, I am not surprised, but after seeing that review, I saw one praise which said high on VFX. This is not a part of our flow of conversation, but I was not really that impressed with the VFX. So if he says it's high on VFX, I could only imagine, what else is wrong with the movie. So I'm not surprised. I mean, there were not like too much expectations, and the video that you showed, by the way, there is one word, one statement which comes which says, let us save our dharma. And ironically, we are talking about a movie coming from Dharma Productions. I don't think right now there is a bigger irony than that. It was a well-made video, by the way. It pretty much summarizes, like you said, what we want to discuss here. But let us see, how Brahmastra picks up. There is a lot of events that have gone in the past, that have happened in the past with the boycott and what happened in Ujjain, for example. So there is definitely a lot of anger, I would say, that is coming out. And if I remember what I was speaking about in our first episode or first part of this Boycott Bollywood series about 𝙒𝙗𝙦𝙤, I think since then to now, and it's not even been more than a few weeks, but one could sense that anger coming out and literally coming out in the streets, so to speak, in Ujjain. It is time for Bollywood to introspect. That is where we left our first episode, but I think it is time for them to do something about it.
Right. In fact, in the first episode, we spoke about 𝙒𝙗𝙦𝙤, and then the following week, we had a few more movies. A couple of them kind of burned their fingers, if we have to call that. I guess one was
Yeah.
Liga was the movie that didn't even take off. And then there were other movies like Raksha Bandhan. I guess the next movie of Akshay seems to go to OTT directly. They don't even want to venture the movie release. So that's how bad the industry has felt this. I would call it as a trauma. In fact, just talking about the video we just kind of played, it is kind of a Hollywood level, right? Just a boycott video, and we could do it. I guess the word did it right. Indic Spectrum did with such fervor and vigor, and it looks like a trailer of a movie itself. And so, what do you think? I get that you said they should introspect, but then they also saying that they will stand up. They cannot be silenced, and they won't take it down easily. Do you think they are not still getting the message of the moviegoers?
That's an interesting point. Well, at least if I listen to the kind of words that the actors and the producers, directors, they have been using, there does seem to be a disconnect. But I believe that disconnect is a sham. It's deliberate. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that now they have to answer to certain people, the answer to their potential audience. But it also goes back to something that I have enormous issues with, which is the whole left-right divide, where if you recall, the left-right divide came from the French Revolution. And at that time, what was happening is that the left was the one that was fighting to root out the entrenched hierarchy, the entrenched system. And what has happened over the years is that the left, which includes the movies, the book publishing industry, the news industry, they have become that entrenched hegemony. And in those days, the right was essentially, they were the people who did not want any change, and the left was fighting against that. And it's all reversed now, so Bollywood is an entrenched hegemony today. And the video that you showed, it's a good video. It also shows that there is creativity that lies outside the confines of Bollywood. And what I think is going to happen more and more is that there is going to be a lot more protest, a lot more criticism. And if Bollywood feels that the kind of scrutiny that is happening today, which is scene by scene, is bad, I think they are probably in for a bigger shock, that this is only going to increase. And this is, you can say, kind of like a negative impact, in a sense that it is not constructive, right? But on the other hand, when I look at videos like this, I feel that out of this, there is a lot of positivity, a lot of creativity that is going to come out, because people are going to make their point in much better ways, not just by tweet threads and things like that. Those should happen, but that is always the first step. That is not the end. It is the means to an end. It is the first step towards, where we want to be. So in that sense, I am happy that, people are creating such videos. Fundamentally, the right is the new left, and the left has become that entrenched monopoly, which doesn't want to change, but things will change, based on what we are seeing right now.
Right. That actually makes me ask the next question. Right. All this is happening, and there's one movie waiting to be released, and that is of King Khan's Pathan. And we have not heard him at all, right? Neither for or against. And do you think, I guess he could be the smart guy in the movie industry? Is he playing really smart?
Yeah, I think that probably seems to be the case. It's eerily silent. There is hardly anything that is coming out, and he knows pretty well, what is in store. And also, given the fact that his earlier movies have not done well, it's probably a good idea to take things a little silently rather than create some controversy by issuing some statement.
Right. So what do you think? I guess this is the first day, and in fact, we have a reviewer giving 2-star, and then we have somebody who came up with a video for Boycott. And there seems to be, as you said, I guess Ujjain people drove the actors out. And in fact, there was some hustle there, but still they managed to kind of drive them out. So at the end of the day, I guess you keep saying the same thing, right? That the movie industry lacks creativity, which we can see outside. So I guess this kind of videos entertains us more than the movie itself that runs for 3 hours, isn't it?
Yes, so I would like to make a couple of points here. These kinds of videos are definitely good. They are creative, but also remember that they are reactive. We are reacting to certain scenarios which are happening in the industry. Eventually, we will get into the more proactive mode where we are making these short videos. I think which goes back to one of the points I made about the RA protest, where I felt that what Bollywood could have done is they could have created some really short and nice videos, which has not happened. But it's a good first step. The second point is about the protests in Ujjain. I'd been following that, and there are a lot of arguments that happened even to the so-called right wing or the reactive wing, as I sometimes call it. Whether the protest should have been there, whether we should prevent somebody from going and praying in a temple. And in my opinion, I don't think that makes any sense. Peaceful protests are a part of what the Constitution provides. And temple authorities, there was one argument which said that, hey, temple authorities have to make it clear that these are the rules that you have to follow in order to enter the temple. Hey, that is not something that even the Constitution does. The judges, for example, are not the ones who lay down the rules. The judges only interpret what is written in the Constitution. Okay, so people should make that analogy first before telling that temple authorities should make the rules. Like somebody had joked that maybe people should sign terms and conditions before entering the temple. That is not how it works. Peaceful protests, we have seen how peaceful protests were supported by all legs of the government when it was an issue with the anti-CAA protests or the farm protests. And this is a protest, so because Bajrang Dal is doing it, you have an issue with that? I don't think so. So the issue is not to be taken in isolation by asking whether it is right for somebody to prevent the entry of few actors into the Ujjain temple. The issue is always larger. The context is always important. And such kind of arguments like, whether it is constitutionally valid or not, I think they should replace Hinduism with some other religion and try the same arguments to see what kind of responses they themselves get. I would rather say that, it is not for the people on the streets to introspect, what they should do. It is for the people who have incited them to be on the streets to introspect, what needs to be done.
Right, I guess, so you said everything you have to in those 2 points. And thank you for bringing that constitutional morality for people to understand what it actually is. And in fact, you played the DJ in the house with using your words. And thank you very much for joining us on Boycott Bollywood series, part 3 of the series. And hopefully, we maybe I believe that we won't be pushed to make part 4, and we will do something else better. Okay.
Sure.
Thanks a lot, Kans.
Yeah.
See you again.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, JK. Yeah.